Hail, O mankind of earth, I am come from Venus, our lovely star, to speak to you of your victory. And as I am speaking to you, it has been arranged by the entire Great White Brotherhood that simultaneously with this transmission here at Beacon's Head, my voice should also be heard in the Grand Teton. You will appreciate then how that solemn moments and joyous moments conspire to bring about meetings of the Brotherhood all over the planet on behalf of victory for the earth and her evolution. I am certain that mankind have been diligent, or at least have felt that they were diligent in many matters as pertaining to the kingdom of God. But I would like to call your attention to the fact, blessed ones, that human judgment is always relative to human experience. And I think then that you will acknowledge, and if you will not acknowledge, I am certain that your higher mental body will, that the power of light and the wisdom of light exceeds the domain of human reason. And therefore, we want to tell you now, not by reason of discouragement, but in order to bring about encouragement of greater effort, you see, that the services which the mankind of earth, including the spiritual people of past ages, have been insufficient to meet the demands of life itself in the onward rush toward perfection. And therefore, the forces of evil and human discord have actually grown up in the garden of God as weeds grow up in one that is unattended, or relatively so. And so, this precious earth, which ought to be itself victory's garden, which ought to be like my garden, is not, you see, a garden of victory, but in many cases a garden of almost hopelessness, as mankind continue to follow the same old patterns of imperfection without regard to the wondrous outpouring of love and light which has descended to this planetary body from on high in the person of countless avatars and blessed ones who have given their all. I am tonight particularly conscious of the magnificent service of your Mother Mary. I am particularly conscious tonight of the service of Saint Teresa, and I am particularly conscious of the service of Jeanne d'Arc. You see then, precious ones, that mankind have been served in many cases by the feminine ray. Although masculine leaders are often a bit more popular, perhaps because they have a bit more dash and verve, but I think that mankind today are coming into greater awareness of re-embodiment and its great reasonableness, and understand today in a wider way how that life is an onrush toward perfection. You see, precious ones, there is something very hopeless in the concept of one life, where individuals feel that they have made mistakes and that those mistakes are very great. When they feel that they have made mistakes and they feel the onrush of human age in the time-space continuum, they sometimes enter into the idea and concept that life has passed them by, and they feel then, which is actually playing into the sinister hands of the evil strategist, that there is no need for them to change their ways, for they do not feel that they are any more capable of doing so. Precious ones, you must not believe this lie. You have a saying among yourselves that you are only as young as you feel. Well, precious ones, I would call to your attention that your victory lies in resurrecting your spiritual vision of perfection from the mind of God and letting that vision flow through your flesh form, through your mind, through your feeling world, and asserting its God control, which will give you your victory here and now, as it always has worked in every other system of worlds similar to your own. I think many of you are aware that in the vast cosmos itself, the earth is but a pinpoint of light, and therefore you have no illusions concerning this planet as being the hub of the universe, but you recognize the great central sun as being far more accurately the center of all that goes on in the cosmos itself. Then, precious ones, recognize the power of perfection in the mind of God and call that perfection forth through the re-amplification of the power of light in your own consciousness. Now, I would like to call to your attention that you can place a candle upon an altar and light it, and you say that it gives forth the light of one candle. Well, precious ones, you can crowd another candle in beside it, and you have two candles, and the power of three is easily added. Supposing, precious ones, that within the space of one single square foot you were to place a series of candles so that the entire area would be taken up by the flames of candles. Do you see then how that 1 square foot of space could manifest a much greater light by having it all occupied with light than if it were to be simply one candle flame? Then, precious ones, the power of intensification must be understood by you, that you can actually add to the power of your life and the victory of life by a concentrated effort of faith. I could cite several examples where individuals have felt that they were relatively insecure in their own world by reason of limitation, and then quite suddenly they became aware of the tremendous opportunities which existed in the mind of God, and they threw off the yoke of human limitation, and they recognized the power of cosmic victory. Therefore, this amounted to the lighting of many candle flames within the perimeter of their identity, as opposed to the dying embers of the flame which they imagined that they had, and which they imagined and presumed was passing to the point of going out, because all of the oil and saturation of tallow in the wick was coming to an end. Precious ones, you are connected with God and His limitless light energy. You need never feel that you are limited by reason of human concepts, for they do indeed become a weight which holds you down as the power of gravity itself into a situation resembling the grave. You call it a rut, and I tell you it is worse than a rut. It is a living grave, for it is the placing of life's opportunity into the shrouds of insecurity and into the shrouds of degradation and into the grave itself, so that mankind do not permit themselves the full range of divine expression which they otherwise could have in one individual embodiment. You have heard it said and accepted mentally, the concept that one with God is a majority. But, precious ones, have you put that into practice, or is it merely a matter of accepting that which sounds wholly reasonable? Let me tell you, precious ones, there is a vast difference between accepting that which is wholly reasonable and then actually practically going out and doing the will of God and actually being an overcomer. I take now, for example, your own precious Saint Germain in his embodiment as Christopher Columbus. You recognize, of course, that at the court of Queen Isabella there were, precious ones, many opponents of the support which she gave to him. And I am particularly interested tonight to call to your attention that an individual exists in this room that you would never believe is actually here in physical embodiment. And this individual in feminine form is the re-embodiment of Queen Isabella. She herself has no idea or awareness of this fact and is wholly innocent of the position and authority which she held then. She is here tonight because Saint Germain has never forgotten to express his gratitude to her life stream for the assistance which she gave to him in the discovery of this great land of America. I shall not reveal her, lest if I were to do so, she herself might be lifted up with human pride and tempted by the powers of darkness. I therefore ask that none of you shall speculate as to who she is, for this is not nearly so important as it is that you understand that the gratitude of Saint Germain, your own Saint Germain, has flowed back unto that life stream and has seen to it that she is propelled into this activity to receive the violet flame instruction and the mighty assistance of life toward her ascension. Do you see then how that, precious ones, every single act and right thought of mankind comes to record and is recorded on the records of Akasha? Do you see then how that life itself provides an impetus for victory to all? Is it not wise then to build a momentum of good karma before God and man? Is it ever wise to spew out upon an individual your human venom simply because you cannot contain it within yourself until it is transmuted? Is it ever wise to be an individual filled with vitriolic hate toward any part of life? I think not, for these things hinder your victory, and see to it that you are gravity bound for a much greater period of time. The power of light that assists mankind to his ascension is the Christ light of your higher mental body, transferred down to the domain of the physical itself, so that all of the dross and gross senses can be purified by the power of light, until the substance that leaves your body as smoke at the top of your head by the power of transmutation's flame is actually a condition, and creates a condition whereby a relative state of less weight occurs. For example, precious ones, I would like to point out to you now that individuals that may weigh 100 pounds would find that if the dross substance of hate and hate creations and human selfishness were removed from their bones, that they might lose as much as 10 pounds in one day. Do you see then, precious ones, how that all of these conditions actually hold the body down to the earth itself? And these are the dense substances which need purification in order to give you your freedom and your victory. I do not say, precious ones, and I hope that none of you will be so foolish as to rush to a scale in order to weigh yourself to see whether or not your density has increased or decreased, simply because of my statement. But I hope that you will realize that in the eyes of God, a karmic record, a mark for victory in the higher octaves can be recorded, and then at one given moment, a number of pounds, as much as 100 or even 150, can drop from you until you weigh perhaps as little as 1 or 2 pounds. And then, when the mighty power of the Holy Spirit comes along, by the power of light, like a mighty magnet standing over you as it did over beloved Jesus, your body in its relatively weightless condition will rise up into the cloud of light that is there waiting to receive you. Do you see, precious ones? And then in that cloud of light, you can be completely renewed, and all of your hair on your heads where it is white can be restored to its proper color. In fact, precious ones, the very teeth in your mouth would grow in at that moment if they were absent, and every condition in your body would be restored to absolute perfection, a perfection that you do not now dream of. You will recall, precious ones, that beloved Jesus, after his ascension, did appear also to St. Paul by the wayside, and say unto him, "It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks." You see then, precious ones, that beloved Jesus had the power to also appear after his ascension to mankind, and still has the power to materialize his body and form. However, it is so much more comfortable in the higher octaves of light to move about sans the physical body or a flesh body of form such as you now wear. And therefore your electronic body of light is the comfortable body which mankind desire to wear. Would it not be, precious ones, I ask you, a wonderful gift to you right now, if your physical form were without weight, and you did not feel the pressures of bones and substance within that flesh form, which sometimes causes you to feel a bit uncomfortable? Perhaps when you are in our radiation, your body takes on more of the qualities of light, providing you are properly attuned. But then, precious ones, I am sure that you are not content to sit as you now are in a state of inertia and let us do it for you. You want your own victory. I am certain you do. And therefore I say to you, there is no reason under heaven why you cannot have it. It is up to you, strictly up to you, precious ones. There are countless numbers of individuals that have ascended since a year ago. And I think also that this year forthcoming shall see a number of ascensions. Therefore there is no reason why mankind need to put off the resolution within themselves that shall give them their victory. They may as well make up their mind right now as any later time. What better time than now? Why should you defer it, precious ones? Do you realize that when you summon the power of light to your cause and say to light, I wish to make my ascension, I wish to have my freedom as soon as possible, that you actually set in motion a great cosmic law to assist you to your victory? Well then, precious ones, do you see how important it is that you do not further delay the making of this resolution? Won't you please be seated? I have come here this night to give you a great momentum of my victory, and therefore I have asked that the 7 holy Kumaras, in an almost unprecedented action, shall release a tremendous flame of their own victory into this room, so that that momentum, the momentum of the 7 holy Kumaras, becomes available to you to draw from, to draw upon, to have and to hold for 24 hours, that you might have the pressure of their light and love to give you some reinforcement of your resolution. Well, precious one, how would you like to know the truth of what has happened? It almost took, as you would call it, an act of Congress to get this through. And yet we have been able, because of the yearning of the powers of light, to see more people have their freedom to get this concession from the Lords of Flame, from the planet Venus. And therefore they are now sending forth the mighty streams of light down to the planetary body. It has not yet reached the periphery of your outer atmosphere of the earth, but I shall tell you when it does, so that you may attune with it and feel the great surge of their God flames. Precious ones, I call your attention now that I think, beloved Jesus, your beloved Saint Germain, and beloved Master Moria have provided you far greater a measure of perfection than you dreamed of at the time you first elected to come to this class. And I think also that you must recognize that this is not a selfish thing which we are bestowing only upon you, but which we wish to make available to all upon this planetary body on the occasion of their either reading these words which I am speaking or listening to them for the first time. Do you see, precious ones, then? We have asked the Lords of Karma to place a charge within the life stream of every individual upon this planet that can be activated or reactivated, as the case may be, at the specific moment when they read this instruction or hear it for the first time, so that they at that time may enter in to the self-same attitudes of comprehension as you do, and the same opportunity be given to all, that they then be also assisted by the momentum of the 7 holy Kumaras and the Lords of Flame from Venus. Now, precious ones, the beloved Lords of Blue Flame have contacted the outer atmosphere of the earth, and they are beginning their descent into this area. I call your attention that they come with great light, almost meteoric in its flashing forth. The Christ Lord Maitreya and beloved Jesus have both lowered their eyelids at this moment. They have raised their hand in holy prayer and adoration to God for this glorious outpouring of love and light. Now, precious ones, the lords of blue flame, the 7 holy Kumaras, and a certain cosmic being that was not at first revealed are within 100 feet of this building and coming on. They are here, and as the light of 10,000 suns, they blaze forth their tremendous radiance and assistance to this planet for the victory of your beloved Jesus and the commemoration of every ascension that has ever been made by the power of light. And I add my flame of victory to it, and I pray that all of you will recognize this wondrous and marvelous outpouring of light for all that it shall mean and can mean to your life stream if you will accept it. It is a penetrating substance. It flashes forth through your very bones. It has the coolness of running water and the electrifying vigor of the elixir which St. Germain administered to David Lloyd. It is a tremendous assistance of light. It is a tremendous power to your whole life stream. Drink deeply then of the draught of the sacred fire gift of these beloved beings, and know that every child of light in the universe desires to send their momentum of cosmic victory through your being so that you can be a representative of God upon earth and stop the action of human karma and karma-making thinking. Precious ones, I say to you now and always, accept your victory, love your victory, feel your victory, be your victory, know your victory, and declare it, saying, I am my victory, fulfilled right now by the power of the 3 times 3 and by the power of the sacred fire, world without end, in the name of God victory, I am. I thank you, and I bid you good evening.